Hi friends, in today's session we'll see another new feature of Oracle 11G data guard, that is a snapshot standby database. We will go through the concepts of snapshot standby database. Snapshot standby database is being created from the existing physical standby database. So we will see how to convert a physical standby to a snapshot standby using data guard broker command line tool, that is dgmgrl. We will also see how to convert a physical standby to a snapshot standby database using the SQL commands. We will see the restrictions that's applied on snapshot standby databases. In the coming sessions, we will see how to convert a snapshot standby database back to physical standby database using dgmgrl commands as well as the SQL commands. Snapshot standby database. Snapshot standby database is a fully updatable standby database. That means the snapshot databases can be opened in read-write mode as well as on the read-only mode. So when the snapshot database is opened the read-write mode, we can create additional objects like indexes, views, materialized views, etc. on the snapshot standby database. And a snapshot standby database is being created from an existing physical standby database. So a physical standby database which is in sync with the primary database is mandatory to create a snapshot standby database. The advantage with the snapshot database is that when the standby database is having the snapshot standby role, it can receive the redo transported from the primary database, but it will not apply the redo to the standby database. That means the standby database, as long as it is in the snapshot role, it can receive the redo log from the primary database, but it will not be in sync with that of the primary database. But once we are converting the snapshot database back to physical standby database, we can reapply the redo log information which is received from the primary, and the physical standby database can be in sync with the primary. In the case of Oracle version 10G, we could open the database in the read-write mode and open the standby database in the read-write mode and again convert it back to the physical standby database using the flashback option. In the case of snapshot standby database feature of Oracle 11G, Oracle is using the implicit feature of the flashback database, but there is no need to enable the flashback database explicitly to use the snapshot standby feature, as long as the physical standby is not in the read-only mode. When a physical standby database is converted to a snapshot standby database, an implicit guaranteed restore point is created and flashback database features automatically enabled. And from that point of time, Oracle will capture or create the flashback log files, and once we are deciding to convert the snapshot database back to the physical standby database, Oracle will use the flashback option to the guaranteed restore point being created. As we see earlier, we can use the dgmgrl commands as well as SQL commands to convert a physical standby database to snapshot database standby database, as well as converting a snapshot standby database back to physical standby database. When the snapshot standby database is converted back to physical standby database, Oracle the snapshot standby database is being flashed back to the restore point which was created when it is originally converted to snapshot standby database. And when the snapshot database is running on the standby role, it will be receiving the arclog files from the primary database, and the arclog files will be created on the standby archive log destination of the standby, and when it is converted back to physical standby database, Oracle will automatically reapply the changes on the accumulated arclog files and makes the physical standby in sync with that of the primary. But to convert a snapshot standby database back to a physical standby database, we should open the snapshot database in the read-write mode at least one time. Okay, now we'll see how to convert a physical standby database to snapshot standby database using the DataGuard broker commands. We have to use the convert database command of DataGuard broker command line tool to convert a physical standby database to snapshot standby database. The command will be, assuming that our standby database name is stand, the command will be convert database stand to snapshot database. We can, once the command is executed successfully, we can verify the status of the snapshot standby database from the $database data dictionary view. We have to issue the command select database underscore role from $database, and in the case of a snapshot database, we will be getting the result as snapshot standby. Now, if you are issuing the show configuration command from the DataGuard broker command line tool, we can see that it is being updated as a snapshot standby database. In this example, prime is considered as the primary database and stand is shown as snapshot standby database. Now let's see how to convert the physical standby to a snapshot database, standby database using the SQL commands. The precautions what we have to take in this case is that we have to stop the redo apply if the redo application is active, and then if the database is belong to a real application cluster, we have to shut down all the instances except the one instance. And we have to make sure that the standby database is in mount stage. It should not be opened in the read-only mode. And we have to make sure that the flashback area is being configured. And now once this preliminary checks are completed, we can issue the command alter database convert to snapshot standby to convert a physical standby database to a snapshot standby database. So the command has to be command to be executed is alter database convert to snapshot standby. Now let's see the restrictions that are being applied on snapshot standby database. A snapshot standby database should not be the only one standby database in the maximum protection configuration, and it should not be the target of switchover or failover. If you want to do a switchover to a snapshot standby database, we have to first convert the snapshot standby database to a physical standby database. Then we can do the switchover or failover to the physical standby database. And the snapshot standby database should not be the target for the fast start failover. Now let's see the considerations to to be done when we are activating a snapshot standby database. When you are activating a snapshot database, suppose if there is a corrupted log file is there which is being created when the database was running on the role of the snapshot database. If the arclog file is corrupted, then there is a possibility of the data loss. So we must make sure that the arclog files which is generated during the time of the database running in the snapshot standby role, all the arclog files should be accurate and should be correct. Otherwise, we will end up with a data loss. And if this standby database was running on the snapshot role for a lengthy period of time, then the time will be taken if this database to be converted back to physical standby database and we have to do a failover, then the conversion time will be very high because a lot of log files are accumulated on the standby database when the database was running on the snapshot role. So these 2 points should be considered when we are activating the snapshot standby database to a physical standby database and then to make the physical database as a primary database. Now let's see the commands, or let's see how to convert a snapshot database back to a physical standby database using the data broker commands. Here the point to be noted is that the snapshot database should be at least opened one time in the read-write mode before converting back to the physical standby database. Then we have to issue the convert database command of the data broker to convert the database to the physical database, physical standby database. For example, the command is convert database standdb to physical standby. Once this command is successfully completed, if you are using the show configuration option, we can see that our primary and the standby is being shown with the correct status. For example, in our case, prime is the primary database and stand is the physical standby database. Now let's see how to convert a snapshot database to physical standby database using the SQL commands. As discussed earlier, if the rack feature is enabled on the standby database, we have to shut down all the instances except the one instance, and then make sure that the database in the mount stage it's not opened in the read-only mode. But here also the one point is valid. If you want to convert a snapshot standby database back to a physical standby database, it should be opened in the read-write mode at least one time. Then we can issue the command alter database convert to physical standby database. And once the command is completed, we have to restart the standby database, the physical standby database. And then we can reapply or restart the media recovery process, and Oracle will reapply the changes which has been accumulated during the period of snapshot standby database.